So as we get started today, this video is divided into chapters. If you want to skip at any point, just look at the sliding bar underneath the plating window and you can see the chapters to skip ahead. Welcome back to the Crochet Credits. Also my friends over at yarnspirations.com. We're continuing with our Patons Sampler Afghan. Today we're working on this square here. This square here is on page number 3 and it is called the Waves and Flowers motif. Starts here and then goes over onto page number 4. So this is what it looks like here, and if you'd like to do the repeat pattern for this, it's multiples of 13 plus 4. I just hand drew this. This will not be available to you, but I did it for myself so I could figure out the multiples because I know some of you will ask. So if you would like to change the size of this, make it even bigger, it's multiples of 13. So 13, 13, 13, and when you're satisfied with the width, just add 4 and you'll have the balance. If you want to take a screenshot now and just hold and just be able to take a screenshot, you can do so. I'll hold for a second. And in the meantime, we're gonna head right into this pattern using a 5mm size H crochet hook, and I'm still continuing to use my Bernat Super Saver or Red Heart Super Saver, or Bernat Super Value or Red Heart Super Saver yarn. Let's begin. So let's begin this square today, and you need to chain a multiple of 30 in order to begin. Remember that the first one on the hook number counts as 1. So we're just gonna do 30. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and come back with me after you have 30 done, and I'll be right back. Let's begin row number 1. It's not as hard as it looks if you're reading the pattern, and we're gonna take it step by step. So you're gonna go 5th chain from the hook. So let's count back from the hook, and you're gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one, and turn it over and get the back hump of the 5th one, and I need you to double crochet. Now the skipping of those 5 chains that we just did counts as a treble, and you'll have to think about that in the future. So we're now going to double crochet the very next one, half double crochet the next one. So we're creating a wave. So this is a smaller stitch, so it's a half double, and then we're going to single crochet the next 2 in a row. So we have 1 and 2, and then the next 2 chains are slip stitch each. So just slip and slip, and now we're gonna get bigger again. So just think of it like a wave. So to go bigger, the next one is next 2 are single crochet. So we have 1 and 2. The next one is a half double crochet, and then the next 2 are double crochet. So we have 1 and 2, and finally the end of the repeat is here, so it's a treble. So wrap that hook twice and go into the next one. It's a treble. So it's the highest part of the wave. So when we started, that chain 5 that we had is a treble, and then this is a treble, so therefore you have the dipping of the wave. Let's continue along. So the next 2 in a row are double crochet. So we have 1 and 2, and then we have a half double crochet, and then the next 2 are single crochet. So we have 1 and 2, and then 2 slip stitches, slip stitch in the next 2. So we have 1 and 2. So we're now coming closer to the end, so we're gonna get bigger and end with a treble. So we're just, the next 2 are going to be single crochet. So we have 1 and 2, a half double crochet, and then the next 2 are double crochet, and then finally the very last chain should be a treble. So we have 1 chain left. Just wrap that hook twice and finish with the treble. And this here is row number 1. So when you turn it, you can see the waves up and down is exactly what we're going for. Let's move on to row number 2. Let's begin row number 2. So we're gonna start and we're going to chain 3, and we're going to double crochet then into the very first stitch here. Okay, right where it comes in. So not the next one, the same one. If you're ever unsure, if you go to the end of the instructions on row number 2, it says 2 double crochet in the top of the turning chain, so that means that there's 2 stitches sharing. and because it's the top of the wave it actually makes sense too. So we're going to double crochet in each of the next 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now there's a lot of instructions for what's next, but it's just a 2 together double crochet. So in the next 2 here, there's gonna be 2 together double crochet. So just wrap the hook going into the next stitch, pull through 2 and hold. So don't finish it, and then go into the next one and do the same thing. So wrap and in, pull through 2 and hold, and then pull through all 3 stitches, and that's a 2 together double crochet. Now we're gonna double crochet in the next 5 in a row. So we went 5 down, 5 up, it's a wave. So we're gonna go 5 in a row. So let's count those together. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now the next one here, I can see below it's a treble, and so I know I'm balanced, and in the next stitch here you're going to put 3 double crochets in there. So that allows it to turn the wave. So 1, 2, and 3. So when you think about the edges are half of a wave, right? So there's only 2 in this one, but because this is a full wave going over, there's 3. So now you're gonna go down, and how many are gonna go down? If you went down 5 and up 5, just remember that you're going to go down 5. So double crochet 5 in a row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then that's the bottom of the wave. So we're going to put the next 2 together. If you figured out those are the slip stitches, you're right. So you're gonna put those 2 together. And then you're gonna go up the next 5. So we have 1, 2. We'll try 2 again. 3, 4, and 5, and you still have the turning chain to work with. So there's going to be 2 right into the chain work itself. So we're gonna go right in the chain. Don't go into a space because that'll hold it open. So just in the chain itself put 2, and that was the conclusion of row number 2. So if you turn it, it looks even more solid now, and it's going up and down. Let's start row number 3, and row number 3 is going to be the start of the repeat for the remaining of this pattern. So rows number 3 through 8 is the repeat for the remaining of the pattern. So we're gonna go through rows 3 through 8, and then we're gonna do rows 3 through 8 one more time, and then we're gonna finish with row number 15 at the end. So we're going to start with row number 3. So just chain up 1 and just place in 1 single crochet in each stitch going all the way across, and that will be row number 3. Maybe at the end of the row, and we'll talk and move on to row number 4. When you come all the way to the other side, don't forget that turning chain is also a stitch, which is right here. So go into the chain work itself, and we're moving on to row number 4 next. So row number 4, we're moving on, and we're gonna create what they're claiming to be flowers, and that's what we're gonna do next. So we're going to start with chaining 1, and you'll do 1 single crochet into the first stitch. Now you're going to chain a total of 3. So 1, 2, 3, and you're going to skip over 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go to the 7th, and that's where you're going to start your clusters. So then you're going to wrap the hook twice, and going into that 7th one away, just going in, and then pull through 2 and 2 and hold it. Now you need to do this a total of 3 times before you can move on. So this is once, so wrap the hook twice, and in the same one pull through 2 and 2 and hold, and do it again, wrap twice and in, pull through 2 and 2. You should have a total of 4 loops on the hook before you're moving on. So then what you're just gonna do is then pull through all 4 loops and then chain 2 and do that twice more. Okay, so wrap the hook twice and in, pull through 2 and 2 and wrap twice, pull through 2 and 2 and keep doing that. I think on the original sample I didn't wrap it twice. Once you see the 4 loops, pull through, chain 2 and do it one more time. So pull through 2 and 2 and hold. Okay, and after you get that last one done, so you pulled through, we're then going to move on and you're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3 and skip the next 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and go to the 7th. It looks like it's gonna be the top of the wave. And we want to repeat this again. So to repeat, you're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, skip 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and go to the 7th and then begin doing your cluster. So wrapping those twice and keep on collecting those until you see 4 loops on the hook. There's my 4. Pull through, chain 2 and do it again. Once you get that last one done, so once the last cluster is in, you're going to just chain 3. So 1, 2, 3 and then just single crochet into the last one right here. And therefore this is what it will look like, and we're gonna move on to round number 5. So let's begin number 5. You're going to chain 2. It will not count as anything and it's just a double crochet into the first single crochet, and let's just work our way through the spacing. In the next chain 3 space there will be 2 double crochet. So let's do that. So we have 1 and 2 and then we have a double crochet in the next cluster. So see how it's kind of going around like that right there? That's where you want to stick your hook. So 1 there, and then in the next chain 2 space you're going to apply 2 double crochet, and now in the next cluster here, it's the middle one, there's going to be 3 double crochet into the cluster. So this helps maintain the top of that wave. And now the next space here is going to be 2 double crochet. So we have 1 and 2, and then we're going to do 1 double crochet into the next cluster, and this is the sinking of the in the middle here. So you're going to apply 2 double crochets around the space first. So 1 and 2, and what we have to do is a 2 together double crochet using this chain and this chain. So wrap and go around the first chain here, pull through 2 and hold it, and then wrap and go around the next chain, pull through 2 and hold it, and then pull through all 3, and those are doing a decrease using those chains only. So let's go back up the other side. So you're gonna apply 2 double crochet into that same chain that you just were in, 1 into the cluster, 2 into the next chain, and then that's the middle cluster of the group, which is next. So you'll apply in the cluster itself 3 double crochet. So that keeps that wave moving, and then come down the other side. So 2 into the next space, 1 into the cluster, 2 into the next chain 3 space, and then 1 double crochet into the single crochet here, and then that's it. That was row number 5. Okay, let's turn our work and begin number 6. Let's begin row number 6. Nice and easy. Just chain up 1 and apply 1 single crochet in each of the stitches all the way across, and I'll see you at the end of number 6 in just a moment. So we'll move on to number 7 in a second. As we come to the end of number 6, remember the chain 2 is not an extra stitch, so make sure you just come into the last double crochet and stop. So don't put anything into the chain 2 chain. Turn your work and let's begin row number 7. In row number 7 we're gonna be moving these clusters, so we're gonna have a cluster here and then in the middle and then a partial. So there'll be a partial, a full, and a partial. Let's begin. We're going to chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, and you need to treble, chain 2, and cluster all in the first stitch. So you're just gonna treble into the first stitch, so not the next one, just right where that chain 3 is coming out of, and then chain 2. So this here, what you did, the chain 3, this here treble counts as a partial of a cluster. Then you're gonna cluster into the same one. So if you recall, you're gonna wrap twice, pull through 2 and 2 and start collecting until you see 4 loops on the hook. And once you see 4, pull through everything. And because this here is the ending of a cluster, so think of it, it's like here. So you're gonna chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, and skip the next 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go to the 7th. And do you see how it's lined up? So I know that it's pretty much accurate. Okay, so we're now going to do a full cluster. So you have to chain 3 first and then skip the next 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go to the 7th, and you see it's lined up, and start doing your cluster work. So you'll have your first cluster, keep wrapping and pulling through until you see 4 loops. And there's your 4. Pull through, chain 2, and do another one. Chain 2 and do another one. Okay, and after that one's done, chain 3, skip 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, go to the 7th, which you see it's lined up. And now we're gonna do a partial on the end. So chain 3 before you start, and then go right into the last stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 7th is the last stitch. I just did that just for your benefit. And start with your first cluster. Okay, you got 4 loops, chain 2, and the very last one is going to be a partial of this. So you just wrap twice and going in, and wrap again, and pull through all 3 loops, and that will finish. And that was the end of row number 7. Let's turn our work and do row number 8, which is gonna be the final of the repeat. So row number 8 is like what we just did here, where we did the decrease when we jumped over the chain work, if you recall. And so the decrease of that happened in the middle here, but it will happen here and here this time when we go to do that. So let's begin. You're going to chain 3, and that counts as your first double crochet, and in the same stitch you're going to apply another double crochet. Now in the next chain 2 space you are going to apply 2 double crochet, and in the next cluster right here it's another double crochet, and as we're approaching here where this single crochet is, you're going to put 2 double crochets into that chain, 1 and 2, and then a decrease going over this chain and this chain. So wrap, and in this chain pull through 2 and hold, and do the next one, and then pull through all 3 loops. Now put 2 more double crochets in the same chain on this side, and then work your way up. So one double crochet in the cluster, 2 into the next space, and the next cluster here is the middle top of a peak. So in the cluster here you'll put 3 double crochets. So 1, 2 and 3, and then work your way down. So the space is gonna have 2, the cluster will have 1, the next space will have 2 first, and then you'll have to do a decrease again. So decrease over this chain and this chain, and then back up the other side. So 2 into the same one on this side, 1 into the cluster, 2 into the next chain 2 space, and then 2 into the top of this partial cluster here. And that was row number 8. So let's turn and work, and let's talk about the repeat on this now, because you've gone through all the repeat pattern at this point. So you can see the major difference of when I did it before. So obviously I misread the instructions, because these here I did as double crochet clusters and not treble, and you can see the massive difference that it looks like. So you know the rule with crochet is if you do it wrong, keep doing it wrong, and if you don't realize you're doing it wrong, just be consistent, and then it will never be wrong. So I need you to repeat now rows number 3 through 8 one more time, and then you're going to then stop there and do one more row, which is number 15. And in number 15 what we're going to do, you know how we started off just with building it out on the chain, we're going to do row number 15, and that's going to get us back pretty much almost to a flat surface. So please do rows number 3 through 8 one more time. So that's equivalent to 9 through 14, and I'm going to show you then row number 15 next, which is just building off on the end of row number 8. So let's do that next, moving to row 15, which is the final. So if you look at the wave, it really gives you an indication of, like in the tops of the waves, so it'll be slip stitching, in the bottoms you'll have your treble and your doubles and your halves as you're building up and down. So our goal is to fill in the space to get it almost to a flat surface. To start, I need you to slip stitch in the first 2. So consider the first one already been slip stitched. It's just, you just turned it, and just slip stitch into the second, and it will look it'll look the same. Then I need you then to build a little bit bigger, and if you recall how we did it is that there was 2 single crochets in a row. So 1 and 2, and then there was a half double crochet to get a bit bigger, and then 2 double crochets to get even bigger. The next one will be a treble, and you see it's in the top of this 2 together here. So that's exactly where it needs to go. And now we need to get smaller again. So the next 2 in a row are doubles. So 1 and 2. Next one is a half, and then 2 singles. So 1 and 2, and then slip stitch then in the next 2. So 1 and 2. So now we're gonna get bigger again. So we're gonna start off then, and we'll put 2 singles in a row. So we have 1 and 2, a half double crochet to get bigger, and then we have 2 double crochet. Sorry, I stumbled for a second. And then we have then a treble, and then we have 2 double crochets. So we have 1 and 2, and then we have a half, and then we have 2 singles in a row. So 1 and 2, and then finally we have two singles, or sorry, two slip stitches in a row right to the end here. And that, see, that brings us back and it gets us almost close to flat that we have here, and this here would be that. So the border, you just have to keep moving on in the pattern. The border has already been filmed. It's just the very first video that is in the series, and that's what we're going to do. And when you do the border, it'll just wrap it nicely around and then put it aside. You need to make 3 of these and then you're good to go, and then moving on to the next square next time there's more time. Have a good one, and we hope to see you again real soon. Bye bye.